This episode is not intended for young ears and discusses child sexual abuse. Please listen with care and prioritize your well-being. Welcome to Once Upon a Real Life with Belle. This podcast is proudly supported by our friends at ActiveFlex, the Australian family-owned and manufactured gel designed for long-lasting relief of sore muscles and joints. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, and leave a comment so you never miss an episode and can join in the conversation. Leah's story is one of survival, but more than that, it is a story of breaking the cycle. From a childhood marked with neglect, violence, and a system that failed to protect her, Leah grew up believing she didn't matter. For years, she carried that pain in silence until now. Today, she's choosing to speak her story, not just to heal, but to help others see that they can break the cycle, no matter how deep the scars run. As a mum of three, Leah wakes up every day determined to give her children the love, safety, and hope she never had. Through her words, she's reclaiming her voice and reminding others who've lived through trauma that they are not invisible, they are not broken, and they are not alone. Welcome, Leah.
Hey,
Thank you for being here today.
no problem.
So let's start with your history. So tell me about little Leah. Where was she born? Where did she grow up?
I grew up mainly in South Australia with my stepmom and my dad. I didn't know my birth mother until a lot later on. I had three brothers at first that lived with me. Yeah, I guess it was very hard.
So your brothers were older?
I had one younger brother. We had the same dad, but different mums. And then I had two other brothers, but they were stepbrothers. One was the same age as me, and then one was quite a bit older.
And they belonged to the stepmom.
Yes, yeah.
And was life good in that home?
No, I probably can't remember what age that, if it was ever any good, if there was any good times, I guess. There was a lot of alcoholism from my father, and my stepmother suffered from drug abuse, and what we later found out that she had delusional schizophrenia, which was undiagnosed for a long time.
So life was erratic and scary?
Yes, yeah. I guess we had people coming and going, and I guess sort of like bikies and things like that. When my mum and dad would fight, it was like, because I wasn't hers, I'd be on the out, which was hard because not knowing who your mother is, you feel like you don't know who you are. And so when they did have those fights, it reminded me that I felt like there was no place for me, like I didn't belong anywhere.
Where do I belong? Were you safe?
No. I guess my older brother I had copped a lot of sexual abuse, which I wasn't aware or understanding of that at all. And because he had an accident as when he was about 12 months old, he had a truck tire fall onto him, and he had a bit of disabilities. And so my stepmother would palm it off as in he had a disability, so he didn't understand. But it wasn't until I was probably 16 that I actually understood that he did understand what he was doing. So I guess there was that.
And did she know and didn't protect you, or you think she was unaware?
No, I guess she knew because they caught it once. They'd said something, but then it continued. And then when I was 15, I went down to visit my stepmother because I moved to Sydney later on. And my stepbrother had asked me out, which was very weird because obviously we're grown up as siblings. And my stepmother sort of palmed it off like there was nothing wrong with any of that. And that was the last time I ever went back down to South Australia.
Yeah. Was he a lot older than you?
Yeah, he was in high school and I was in year 3 when I can recall it started happening.
Did you tell anyone outside the family?
No, because I guess it was drummed into our heads that anything that was to happen at home stayed at home. You didn't talk to outsiders or anything about things that were going on.
That is so common. That is so So common. So, all right. So you lived in that home until what age?
About 11, my dad had just told us to pack up some stuff, me and him. Probably had backpack like that. Sort of, it was a little girl's backpack that had a hairbrush in it and a few photos. And we got on a bus and went all the way up to Sydney to start over again. I still remember that day because I was like, that's it. Like, this is the first time I see my dad as being that hero because I was like, actually finally getting out of this position. I was like, life is going to begin now and I'm going to be safe. But unfortunately,
Did you find that he couldn't protect you or he wouldn't protect you back in that home?
that he couldn't because he tried to get away a few times, but he'd always end up going back to her and that. And I think that he had his own troubles and that going on that I don't think he had the will to try and protect me.
It felt too hard. So you two are now on a bus. You're heading to Sydney. Where did you go?
We went to my granny's, which is his mum, and we stayed there for a while, which she got us an apartment, which we moved to like Parramatta. We had an apartment there. Like I set up my room and everything. And for the first couple of weeks, it felt really good.
You felt safe. You felt like that part of your life is over.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Didn't last?
No. So my dad, I guess he did drink a lot in Adelaide, and I thought maybe that them together was an issue, but his drinking had continued. And because it was only him and me, and I didn't have my stepmom or anyone there, it sort of turned on to me.
So violence or he would just disappear?
Violence, he became a very mean person when he was drunk. So he would say some really mean things. And then some nights it would turn to him sort of coming into my room and things like that. So there was a lot there.
So what happened in South Australia happened again for you.
Yeah,
Leah, was your nanny or granny still around?
they were. But I think I was too scared to, I guess, tell him the full extent of it. Everyone knew, I guess, on my dad's side of the family that he was a bit of a drinker, but it was never talked about. So it was like, I guess I questioned whether he was an alcoholic. Like, I would search it on the web and things like that and try and find out, okay, what is an alcoholic or, and that because I'd be going back and forth in my head, even as probably from year 5, year 6 is when I started questioning whether or not that's what he was suffering.
So imagine what, 10, 11-year-old at that point?
Yeah.
Googling, is my dad an alcoholic rather than, what's hot right now on the internet or homework, things like that. It's for you, it was a whole different life. And you were carrying that at school every day? You were going to school?
Yeah, I was going to school most of the time. I guess I was going to school without lunches or I guess not having school photos done because my hair was too messy or because my dad had spent that obviously on, he had a gambling addiction and an alcohol addiction. So he was going between that and everything. And I would have to make up excuses on why I couldn't have sleepovers or do normal things, I guess, that you would do at that age
So
because,
you were masking really hard at school, pretending,
yeah,
covering for your home life, trying to act normal, trying to act like the other kids?
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think as well, because I carried a lot of embarrassment. Like now I know, obviously, as an adult, that that isn't on me. Like there was nothing for me to feel embarrassed about. But as a child going to school, that's exactly the way that I felt. I felt embarrassed by my father and the home life that I did have. And I
Yeah.
wish that I was probably a little bit not so harsh on myself back then too.
I wish you had a protector. That's what I wish. I wish you had someone to go, no, that those things will not happen to Leah. That's what I wish you had. So, did school question anything when you didn't have lunches?
They did a little bit, wasn't pretty much, I guess, until high school that questions really sort of came about. But I guess in primary school, they would just sort of give me my lunch or things like that.
Good.
And
So the tuck shop would feed you?
yeah,
Yeah. See, I think
and
that should have been really looked at if a child's it was a public school?
yes, yeah, it was. And I mean, even when I was in Adelaide and went to school there, like I think in one year I went to school like 3 days out of the whole year. And I had multiple hospital trips and things like that where I had little tiny bits let my teacher back then know, I think at one stage, but nothing was ever sort of, from what I know, nothing was ever done. So I think that's when I learned to start sort of masking it, because I wouldn't directly say it. You'd hope that little hints, I think, or as a kid, that, okay, they're going to see me or they're going to notice this or that. And when no one speaks to you about it, or you just don't know. So you start to think that, okay, like all this is invisible to them.
Yeah. It's okay. What's happening to me is obviously okay. Okay. So was there food at home?
There was food at home. It was either like my older brother would make us dinners or things like that, or when mum was good or dad was good, they would make food in that. And then later on, my nan would always give my dad money to make sure that we're at least fed in that.
Yeah. So, in hindsight, have you ever found out if there was any child safety, DCP, CPS communication? Was there ever
So
anyone reporting?
when I was about 16, I started to break the law. So I would end up in juvenile detention because I felt safe there. And I guess I started to feel like I belonged there or people cared there. Um,
Routine, bed, food, kids that you recognize are like you have done it really tough. So that would be quite a relief. I can see that. Did you stay with dad all that time
and that whole time it was up and down. There had been sort of charges that would be laid, and then I'd go to court and they'd be
against
dropped
him or against you?
against him.
Yeah.
So I think at one stage one, I got to high school and that it was hard. And one night I had just ran out of the house after he sort of held me down and that, and went to the police station and told them what had happened, and they charged him. And the next day though, after he was charged, I was put back into his house. So I wasn't removed. There was no one who asked me or didn't get any help in regards of counselors, nothing like that.
And did you disclose truthfully? Did you tell them everything, the extent?
Only the assault. By that stage, I was still, I think it was a big no to talk about because of what I'd learned with my brother and early on that you never talk about that
Right.
stuff.
So you didn't talk about being interfered with. You just spoke about him holding you down or physically abusing you.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I guess his alcohol use,
Mm.
and that was it. And so my family had paid for a barrister for my father. So at that point as well, it felt like, my family were trying to help him, but I didn't have that support at all. And then his barrister recommended that I not stay at the house then until the charges were dropped. So I was put into a refuge, and that refuge was actually pretty bad because I was still young. There were a lot of girls that were older than me, so I copped like threats and that. So
How old?
I was in year 7, so I would have been like 12 at that stage, 12, 13.
And how long were you in?
Not long because I ran off. Probably a couple of months, and then I was like, no, this is too hard. I'm going through that same fear
It's not
as a
safe.
did. Yeah. So I took off. They had seen, I guess I just got looked at as the problem, or I was too hard, or I was just causing stuff.
Was that
Uh,
also your internal dialogue? So was that also your view of yourself? I am the problem?
yes. I think because early on, I'd always been told that. So I believed that very much for a very long time. I believed that I was a problem, or that I felt like I always explained it in high school, like that I felt like I was this disease or that I was not human to everybody else. Like I just didn't fit in the world to how everyone else was. It felt like there were just so many things that were wrong with me.
And that is all environmental. Every single bit of that is because of your surroundings and how you were raised and who you were raised by. Okay, so you're 12, you've been to your residential care, which was at a short term order with child safety.
Well, it wasn't. I don't think it was with child safety. I think my dad's barrister and my family organized it with maybe someone else. I'm not exactly sure. All I got told is that my dad didn't want me there and that was ordered by his barrister.
So I would say that was it called a resi? Was it a residential care?
I guess all I know is that it was a refuge. It wasn't a refuge just say for
Foster kids?
yeah, it was just a refuge, I guess, if kids didn't have, as far as I know, if they're homeless or
Right,
um
right. So you were not in the
that sort
care
of
of the
thing.
state. There was no
No,
caseworker assigned to you. You were just
no.
placed in this strange thing I've never heard of. That's so weird.
Yeah, and then I was there on my own, so I didn't have any support, nothing like that. So in my eyes as a kid, I felt like I was being punished for speaking out, I guess, in a way. I was like, okay, like my brother and everyone gets to stay at my dad's. My dad's being supported by my family, getting that support legally and everything else. And I'm here on my own, having to get on a bus, go to school, which was out in Castle Hill. So it was about 30 minutes or whatever on a bus and things like that. I had to learn to do all of that, which I'd never really done before as well. So I felt very alone and I felt like I was being punished. That itself was really hard to deal with. And then not feeling safe in the place as well was
I'm
hard.
just
So,
feeling your heart right now. I'm just feeling what that would have felt like for a 12-year-old child, and that would have been scary, and that would have been heartbreaking, and I'm really sorry that that was your feeling. I'm so
yeah.
sorry. Okay, so then you ran away. Where did you go?
I ended up going to the streets, I guess, and just being on the street, really. And I met up with other people that were sort of not good influences that were also teenagers. Some of them were a bit older, young adults, like 18, 19.
And you're still 12?
Yeah. And so they let me stay at their house, which there was a lot of partying, a lot of men coming back to the house and things like that. So I was put in situations that I never thought I would be put into. So there was more, I guess, assault that was done there as well. And then actually the high school counselor called me because I hadn't been at school.
So let me get this right. So at 12 years old, you were living in a home with older teenagers and you were still attending school every day from that 12-year-old, 13-year-old, 14-year-old.
Yeah.
And school never questioned where are you living, who are you living with?
No, they didn't. I didn't find out until I was 21 that my nan had said the high school had contacted her to ask her to sign a form to say that there was abuse happening at the home. But my nan didn't want to sign it because she didn't want my brother and me to be separated. So she never signed it. But as an adult, I know as well that schools are mandatory reporters. So they wouldn't need a letter from my nan if they had concerns. And I didn't know that everyone did know. So the school was fully aware that there was abuse going on at home and they chose not to report any of that or to even reach out to me to ask how I was doing or anything.
And are we speaking about when you were back at dad's? Is that the time we're speaking about now?
Yeah.
And what about all the years living in that strange home with the older teenagers?
There was never reports or anything made. Like we had police as well come out to that address multiple times. Like they'd seen that there was obviously a 12-year-old living there and that
Did they speak to
it
you?
wasn't.
Hey, what are you doing here?
Yeah, they did. And they knew as well that they weren't my family or anything. I said that I was just staying with friends and that. And they were like, okay, no problem. And they would just leave. They'd tell the people to turn down the music or to, quieten things down and that, but that was it.
And were you being interfered with in that house as well?
Yes.
God, the internal dialogue just keeps killing me here. What you would have been thinking to yourself or saying to yourself, viewing
Yeah.
yourself. All right. So you're going to school. You've got no food again,
Yeah.
no money.
No money. I was pretty much at that stage where I was living there. Where they were getting me to go to like salvos or things like that and ask for food. So they give me like, the sort of box of stuff, staple foods and that. So I was eating pretty much Wheat Bix like breakfast, lunch, and dinner
Yeah.
for a long time.
Yeah. Thank God for the salvos. Thank God for the Salvation Army. All right. So are you still masking at school? None of your best friends knew what was happening to you?
Nobody knew a thing yet. I was just still, once I was out of the houses or wherever I was staying and that, and I was going to school, once I entered that school, it was like, okay, I've got to put on that happy
Face.
face.
Yep. All good. Here in Leah's land. Great.
Yeah.
Okay. So much is broken there. So many times it should have been reported by so many different people
Yeah.
for
I
you.
get to that stage as well. Like, high school was hard because I was getting bullied really badly.
And what were they
So
saying? What was the bullying over?
I was mainly because I guess like I didn't have, once I got to high school, it was because I didn't have any money or
Yeah, and the
things like that. Or I
clothes
knew
and
clothes.
perhaps what you
Yeah.
looked like, maybe.
Yes. It was all of that. And so it was years above me. It was my own year. So that was really hard because it got to a point where, okay, there's no escape for me. I go home, I cop abuse, I go to school, and I cop abuse. So I just started becoming really quiet and just trying to turn off my emotions completely.
So you never fought with those bullies? You just tried to be invisible?
Yeah, I guess because there's like something I learned later on, which is the fight, or flight mode.
Mhm.
And so, like, I would freeze in situations, or I'd learn early on when anyone would raise their voice or anything like that. It was like nothing would come out of my mouth at all, like I couldn't speak. So, even though the bullying wasn't to the extent of unsafety at home and that, it still made me feel like I needed to withdraw and shut down.
Yeah, that's your trauma response. You just were like,
Yeah.
okay. So this is for a good 4 years now. You're traveling along in this space. Then what happened at 16? Was it 15?
16. So by the time I got to 16, I was done trying to hope for help, I guess, or hope that someone was going to notice what was going on. So I started drinking myself and going out, meeting up with the wrong people. And that's when I started more so breaking the law.
So
And
what are you stealing? What is the stealing?
at first, it was just like, I was food or just things for myself to make myself feel better, I guess.
So clothes or makeup or what? Deodorant? What are we stealing?
Yeah. Well, I will go to like Woolworths or things like that. And I would walk out with food and things like that. And if you keep doing it, I eventually sort of like charge you with that. Like I'd been told that I wasn't welcome back to the stores and that, or to Woolworths and that. And I would still just go in there and
Because
grab
you
food
needed
anyway.
to eat, Leah. You
Yeah.
needed food to eat.
Yeah.
It is the most basic necessity in life.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're just stealing necessities. We're not stealing stereos or
No.
iPods. Like it's literally food.
Yeah, it was food and then it'd be like clothes or things like that. And I was arrested on that. And because I was put, say, on a good behavior bond for it, I knew that if I broke that good behavior bond or probation in any way, so it could be just not following curfew or not citing in at the police station, that I would get locked up. So then I would make sure that I did that.
So you'd make
So
sure
then,
that you got locked up.
yeah.
How did you know you'd like it?
The first time I was absolutely terrified, but then I was telling myself, like, there can't be anything worse than
This
what
is
I've already
better. The
done.
alternative is worse. This is better. When you were arrested, did the police ask you why you stole?
No,
They just came down on you for the breaking the law. They didn't look deeper into why Leah's stealing food.
no, they just said you're under arrest. Like, this isn't a first offense. Like, you're doing this. They didn't really ask me why I was doing it or anything like that.
So, okay, that makes me very, very upset that they wouldn't dig deeper because
Yeah.
there's a difference between stealing food or clothes to wear or, makeup or whatever and
Yeah.
iPod, or things that you
Well,
just want. This is Leah has no money. At that point, you could have got on Austudy or Centrelink. Did you apply for those?
I didn't know much about it, not until I was a little bit, like, probably a year or so later did I get told about that.
Yeah, of
And my dad was receiving payments for me.
course it
So
was.
whenever I said that I was going to then apply for it, he'd tell me to come home, but he'd get upset because
He wanted the
basically,
payment. So again, police could have assisted you or connected you with a charity to assist you on getting an income that would pay
yeah,
for the food. Oh, Leah, what a broken, broken system.
yeah, no,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. So, not your first rodeo in juvenile detention.
yeah.
And when you got out, did you go back to that same house the first time?
Well, I guess when I got straight out, I was back in within 24 hours most of the time. So I would only be out for the daytime and then I'd go straight back in.
On purpose?
Yeah.
And what did you do to go back in? What was the thing that you knew, okay, I'm going to do this and they're going to come and take me back to
Uh,
juvie?
Sometimes I would sort of use the payphones or whatever or make threats that I know that I'd be charged with, I think, which I'm now as an adult, I'm not proud of obviously any of those decisions, but I used a payphone and said that I was going to sort of blow up a school. So then I was charged with terrorist charges for that, which they charged me under sort of Commonwealth law instead of Young Offenders Act for that
So, like a
one.
federal offense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and all I wanted to do, I guess, again,
Was be
was go
arrested.
back into juvie because at that stage, I didn't really know where I was going to end up and I didn't want to go back to my dad's as
And
well. So,
and being a more stricter or stronger law that you broke, doing that, perhaps you got a longer sentence?
yeah. So, and those conditions would be stricter. So then I knew it would be easier as well to then make sure that I get locked back up when I got out as well.
And what about when you were in the juvenile detention centre? Was there counsellors?
There was. I spoke to them little bits and that.
Did you tell them the truth? Were you able to open up, or was it like a solid concrete rock inside of you and yours alone?
I think I opened up a little bit, but I think it was mainly with the workers that I actually opened up to
Mm.
the most, which was surprising because there's some workers that will be like, I can tell what you've gone through straight away. And they'd be
Mm.
like, so then it would help me open up to them.
Yeah.
And so the workers felt like they were more like counselors or more family to me than anybody else was.
They were your carers. They were your safe people and they
Yeah.
listened and you felt that they were able to be trusted.
Yeah.
That is
And so,
so easy to understand. Like the words you're saying now, today, are so simple to understand. And that's why I get so frustrated with, this youth crime. Find out why, guys. Don't just come down on them and,
yeah.
with your criminal offenses. Find out and help them. Help these kids.
Yeah. It shouldn't get to the stage, I guess, where it feels like, I guess, there's no one to reach out to or that they're just a problem. And I guess now as well, I know that there was nothing ever wrong with me. I wasn't a problem. I was trying to navigate life myself. and tackling that all on myself and bottling that up as well, thinking that it would be such a terrible thing to speak about it or to protect people who weren't protecting me.
They weren't. They weren't. All right. So, how long with the bomb hoax or the bomb call? How long
Yeah,
were you in juvie for that one?
9 months
Yeah.
only. And then
Did you have
again,
your 17th birthday in there?
yeah, so Christmas, birthdays, and all of that, I spent all in there.
And do they celebrate those things?
Yeah, Christmas Day, you get like, say, a beach towel. We got like a lip gloss, and it was little things, but it was good because we had like a pool in there. So then all of us girls would go swimming for the day in that. We'd have like a lunch, which other people's families would come in and that. And I would get to sit as well with other girls, included me, with their families, or they'd be like, come sit with us and that. So it felt good.
Oh my God. You're going to make me cry. That is so beautiful to hear. Did your dad visit you? Did your nana visit you?
My dad did not. I think there was one time out of the 3 years or 2.5 years that I was in there for that he had visited me for.
And how
Other
was
than
that?
that, no.
How was that?
It was okay, but we didn't really talk or anything, and there was no real support with that.
And was he
My
still getting an income from you at that point?
Yes.
Child support or whatever the government call it?
Yeah,
Family payments?
I'm not exactly sure what the payment is, but yes, he was still receiving payments for me then
Oh.
too. So my nan, she would come in every now and then and she would like buy as much as she could from the vending machines and then she'd give them to me. But I couldn't really relate to her, and because it was still told not to talk about anything that had happened
Well, you don't
within the
trust her.
family.
You don't trust her.
Yeah, I had
She's
asked her not to come back.
I
Yeah,
think
it
that's a
was
fair
hard.
call until she changed her mind, and if she would change her mind and support you rather than your abuser, I think that's a good call, Leah.
Yeah. So I was okay because in there I felt like I had more of a voice.
Yeah, you did.
So, and I felt safe. So
Yeah.
I was, for the first time in my life, which is weird to say, but I was okay in there.
Yeah. You were getting everything you needed. And like I said, the people around you, the other girls, possibly had similar upbringings, caked in trauma.
Yeah, they could definitely relate to me and understand. And some of the girls I still speak to in that because we grew that bond in understanding each other, or we could just relate to each other.
And have each other's backs, no doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So then when was juvie done for Leah?
3 months before I turned 18, the courts had told me that if I was going to keep ending up in their courtrooms, that I would go to jail, that there would be obviously no more juvie. Being so close to 18, I think that scared me because I remember one thing one of the workers had said to me, and she said that jail is a different thing. She's like, once you're in jail, you're just another number. She's like, there's not people in here like us there that are actually going to care about you
Good
the
advice.
same way.
Good
And I think that
advice.
that really stuck to me and that really scared me. So the judge also had dropped all my conditions. So you usually get like a JJO, a juvenile justice officer on the outside that have to find you housing or give you support. Because I was so close to 18 and there was no going back to juvie after that, they had dropped everything. So once I was to walk out those doors, I didn't have anyone find me housing. I didn't have any
So
support.
they
I
just
didn't
wanted
have
you
any.
to leave the premises and sort yourself out. Just
Yeah,
figure it out, Leah.
yeah. And so I freaked out and I was calling my dad and asking him like, can I please come back home? Please. He kept saying no. And so I would keep ringing. So I was going to be released at the end of the day. And so as soon as I came back from court, I was on the phones in Juvie ringing him, begging him if I could stay with him. And he ended up saying that I could stay with him for 3 days, but he was moving in with his new partner and starting a family, and that I wasn't welcome to that. So I would have to find somewhere to go after those 3 days.
And at this point, are you on Centrelink or that hasn't happened yet? Still no money, about to be released. Dad has said 3 days and that's it.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what happens? This episode is brought to you by our friends at ActiveFlex, the Australian-made pain relief gel that helps soothe sore muscles and aching joints. For long-lasting relief, look for ActiveFlex at Chemist Warehouse or search ActiveFlex Gel online. Always read the label and follow the directions for use. If your pain persists, chat with your healthcare professional.
So I spoke to one of the girls I was really close to in juvie, and she said I could move in with her dad up in Newcastle area. So I was like, okay, well, it's either that or I end up on the streets or in a women's refuge, which after the first experience in a refuge, I did not want to go back to one. It terrified me.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't see any other choice but to go there. And I think once I moved up there, that was probably the worst experience I'd had with anything I'd ever grown up in, even as a child.
So was she getting out at a similar time to you or did you go up there on your own?
She got out not long after me.
Yeah.
Um,
Did you wait for her?
I did.
Yeah.
And we started doing sort of like recreational drugs, drinking, and things like that.
So you were partying. You were just partying. Yep.
Yeah.
And
And then
you were dumbing your trauma. You were numbing your brain to try and
yeah.
forget all of what has happened throughout your whole life. That's what drugs and alcohol can do.
Yeah. Yeah. So I ended up stopping because I noticed that she was on it a lot harder, or that it wasn't turning into just like, say, weekend sort of
Or it
fun.
wasn't fun anymore?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, something in my gut was telling me that it was like that I couldn't be on that stuff because I needed to be aware of my surroundings, sort of thing.
For safety?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so she ended up very much addicted on heavy drugs, and she moved from party drugs to ice and H and things like that. And there would be sort of bikies coming around again because she was stealing from them. And so I'd seen guns, I'd had her steal from me, and then the abuse started with her dad.
To you.
Yeah.
You're 18 and the dad did you have a relationship of trust with him when you first moved there? How long until he turned into an abuser?
Well, I guess he would say I could call him dad or things like that, and he was extra nice and that. But then, I don't know, it sort of changed. I guess he would start offering to give me massages, which I felt was a bit weird, and I probably turned that feeling of my gut telling me that something was up
Yeah.
because I was the only place I had.
You turned it off because you know that feeling. You inherently know that feeling. That has been part of your life story.
Yeah.
So you just switched it off.
Yeah, it was like my gut was telling me you're not safe. And before anything, that should have been the first sign. Now I go, okay, you know what? Like, there are other resources maybe that I could have found out. Then maybe leaving that house at that point might have been the best thing for me then. But I was just thinking that there wasn't any other choices and there was no way out. So I just, switched off that feeling.
And then he was interfering.
Yes.
And by this stage, please tell me you were on Centrelink by this stage and had money?
Yes. My money, I was on youth allowance, which was probably not very much, and it was all going to him for rent.
Oh, so you still had no money?
Yeah. I didn't have any savings. I didn't have anything like that. By that stage as well, I hadn't spoke to my nan or anything in a couple of years because I had cut them off as well.
So was the money you had, you would get out of the bank every week and give him, or was it going into his account?
Yeah, so I would get the money out and then I would give it to him, and which was most of it. And then anything I had left over, his daughter, which was my friend, was taking the rest for drugs.
Yeah.
or I would have to quickly go and spend that so it wouldn't go into her, or she wouldn't then
Yeah.
say, stand over me to get that money.
Yeah. And did you have food in that home?
We did. I wasn't eating a lot myself. Like there was food in that there. I had lost a lot of weight from stress, or I know that my mental and my physical body now it links up. So you have to look after your mental health to also as well look after your physical health.
Yeah.
So my mental health wasn't great. So I was losing a lot of weight from not eating and that.
Yeah. How long were you in that home with him for?
3 years.
Did you get a job when you lived with him?
No, I didn't have anything like that. And by the time I finally had a voice, I think, because I had a few sort of suicide attempts in between that. And
Between
I think,
18 and 21?
yeah.
Yeah.
And so I got to a stage where I was so dumb, I didn't care if I was alive or not. So I went to the police station and I told them what he was doing. But she said, honestly, being 18 and not being a family relative, he could take it to court and say that you were in a relationship with him and you wouldn't be able to prove it otherwise.
Yeah.
And then she's like, and then you would be demolished on the stand. So she's like, basically, from my understanding, there would have been no point, I guess, in me then charging him for that. That was really hard to hear. I 100% understand that is hard to prove. And the thing is that a lot of sexual assaults or things like that, they happen by people that you actually know or people that are around you. But then, yeah, it's so hard still to actually prove that that's actually happening. And that's why a lot of the time as well is people don't report these because they have to then go through it on trying to be believed again. And then on top of that, feel like they're being attacked, I guess, for what they're actually saying.
And their heart is already sunk. So where's the energy for that going to come from,
Yeah.
Okay. So did the police, when you went and visited the police then and disclosed what was happening, did they offer you support to get out of that home?
No.
So you went in there and said, I'm in a situation I don't want to be in. And they said, oh, it's too hard basket. Sorry, we can't help you.
Yeah, basically they said there was nothing that they could really do.
Did they
That
connect you with somebody who could assist you?
no,
Did they give you a pamphlet?
no. I had received absolutely nothing. So I went back to that house and for a couple more nights it happened. And finally, like I had something come out of my mouth where I said stop for the first time. Like I had froze
Yeah.
because of all the abuse that I had before.
Yeah.
I had freeze into that trauma mode. So, but it didn't do anything. It still continued. So one morning I just packed everything up and I was like, you know what? At this point, I don't care if I'm on the streets. I don't care where I end up. Like, there's got to be something better for me than this because if I stay, I'm not going to be here on this earth anymore. And I think there was a part of me that still wanted to fight for life and know that there can be something better than what I'm going through at the moment.
So what did you do? You packed your bag and where'd you go?
I went back to Sydney and I stayed with a family friend
How did you get there?
and
How did you get there?
a bus and a train
Yep.
in another bus. And I said I had nowhere to go. And so she said I could stay on a couch for a while, but I've got to be looking for another place at the same time, somewhere more stable because she had kids and everything as well. So I remember that Castle Hill was my safe place in a way, not because obviously it wasn't because my father was living in that house, but Castle Hill in itself, for some reason, it still made me feel like a happy place.
Okay. It's recognizable. If you know it. You know it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was determined. So I ended up finding this halfway sort of house. Like it wasn't fully like a refuge. You pay rent, you have a worker there.
How did you find it? Who connected you with that? How did you find it?
I found it on Google.
Okay, you
And
Googled where
so,
can I live?
yeah. So I Googled refuges and that and for people that were adults. but I didn't want to go to a women's refuge. So I guess I just kept typing in like refuges in Castle Hill and things like that. And all these businesses would come up. So then I started making the calls, and they said, come in for an interview. We'll sit down with you. We'll talk with you, and we'll see like if this fits for you. When I walked in there, they said to me, we actually remember you. Like when you were 16 or 15, 16, you used to come into the youth center and ask for food, things like that. So she's like, we would like to offer you a placement because we know everything you have gone through. And that made me smile because I was like, you know what? This is the first place that I'm going to be in that I'm going to 100% be safe. I can start looking at working.
You
I
don't
can
have to
start
tell
looking
them
at,
your history because they know you.
yeah. So I didn't have to go through that all again as well. So it was amazing. I was like, I can't believe it. Like, I just sat back and I was like, I made it. Like, I made it out of all the hell that I've been through my childhood, trying to find somewhere to belong. I felt this self accomplishment because I had done it myself and I'd gotten to see where that light is starting to come through.
You could see a little glimmer. All right. So, did they encourage you to get work?
Yeah, so they did. And I got my first job at before and after school care. So I worked out with them that what my passions were, which were children and things like that. So
And the childcare centre, the after hours school care, they didn't check your criminal history?
no, so they didn't check anything like that. And
Oh
because
my God, what is not broken?
as far as I know as well, under 18, I think that they can't sort of see it.
Mm.
But anything over 18, or if it's children related crimes, then they
But
can
pretend
see it.
it's not you for a minute that did it. But the
Yeah.
phone call to blow up a school should have knocked you
Yes.
off.
Yes, straight away. It should have. And I
It's
mean
laughable.
my family told me like you're dreaming of things that you're not gonna be able to do and things like that.
Just watch
As
me.
as well as them being like quit school because you're not smart enough to do school. I have my Cert 3, my Cert 4, and my diploma in children's services. I did that all myself. And I also did it at home and not in a classroom as well. So you have to have a lot of self discipline and things like that for. So being called, I guess, dumb and stupid my whole life, I was like, well, I know within myself now that I'm not and
Yeah.
that I'm very capable of doing things. So it was a big accomplishment, and I don't need to look at my family or those people around me to validate who I am as a person. Now I more so look at myself and go, okay, you know that you're better than what you've been brought up to believe.
How did it feel getting your first paycheck?
I felt great. It
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
It felt really good. And it felt good because I didn't also have to worry about anyone taking that paycheck.
Did you go into Woolies with your cash and just like shake it in, like just show everyone, I've got money today?
I think like even at home, like I was just like staring at it for a while. Like I was like, this is my money. And I think my first paycheck, like I had blown it on a phone and
That's
filled
not
up my
blowing it.
fridge
You
so,
didn't blow it
so
on a phone.
much.
You bought a phone.
Well, yeah. And I started saving money. I started saving a lot of money and things like that. And so I really started thinking like I can actually have goals. What do my goals want to be? Like I ended up buying gaming stuff for our home because that was a good way of me relaxing and escaping things as well. So but yeah, I built up a closet full of clothes that I'd actually paid for all myself. So and I'd done that with no help really from the perspective of what I'd grown up with and everything. Like being told that I'd never be able to do those things, thinking that that darkness or there was never any way out of anything. And then it was starting to really turn around.
So how long were you in the refuge? The good refuge.
Yeah, I was in there until I fell pregnant with my first. So when I was 20, I moved out. So I stayed there for a good few years. I talked about holidays and all of that sort of stuff. But once I became pregnant, you couldn't really stay there anymore because of like health and safety or if something was to happen to me. So I moved in with my partner at the time that I was having the baby with. So
Was he a
yeah.
safe person?
Um, it was for a few years and that towards the end and that it wasn't so much, but I had known as well by that stage like I had a voice.
You
So
had a worth? Did you have a self-worth?
yeah, I did. I knew the steps that I could take. Like I reached out to a counselor, told them the situation I was in, and then I said to him, like, I'm out of here. I don't feel safe. I want better for me and my children. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And how many children did you have with that partner?
two.
2? Yep.
Yeah. And when I had my second child, because my family said, because I was having a second child, that I had to get married. So,
The grandma and the dad?
yeah,
Stop it.
yeah.
So
So,
everything else is okay, but you have to get married, Leah.
yeah, because I was having children
That is
and
the
that,
funniest thing I have ever heard in my life.
yeah. And we had both known, like, there wasn't, like, at that stage, there wasn't really any love, like, not enough love there between us, but we felt like we were more so obligated to marry each other. So my family paid for it all and we got married. But yeah, it didn't sort of last and there a lot of stuff sort of happened, but I didn't let the abuse go on for as long because I knew the signs. I knew that there was help out there. So I'd taken my husband at the time to a counselor. I said, like, this is what's happening. And they looked at him and said, listen, like, this is abuse. Like, you can't be doing this. And then I said, I'm not going back there. That appointment, I said, I'm moving out with me and my children. I just wanted you to also know, obviously, what you are actually doing to me. So,
Which is good for him to hear that from a third party, a third
yeah,
person, not just from his intimate partner.
yeah, and I think it gave me that more so because I had a voice at that stage and I felt confident enough. I just had that person that felt like in my corner to say, you know what, like, yeah, you have that voice. We're here in case anything does happen. But it went well. He apologized actually that he had done all that stuff. And now we co parent absolutely fine. And
I like the part where he owned it. I like that
yeah,
because
which was,
you can build your co-parenting on that, you know.
yeah.
If he's going to own what he did, that's fantastic and very manly.
Yeah, no, was happy with that. And for the first time as well, it was like, okay, wow, like that wasn't a battle to be
Yeah,
like, okay, that didn't happen or
somebody is regretting and apologizing for what they did to me. Is that the first time in your life that has happened?
yeah,
Yeah.
that was it literally the first time and
Mm.
that and I lived on my own with my kids, two kids. I rebuilt my life.
Still
I got
working in
another
childcare?
job. I quit childcare after I had my second child. It was hard to, as a single mum, be able to work, say, before and after school care and have two kids. So, with no sort of
So
family support in watching kids and daycare bills were high, then I waited until they were both in primary school. Once my second hit kindergarten, I was straight back into work, but I was cleaning people's houses for people who couldn't clean because of health needs or the elderly or things like that, which I love doing so much and still like to continue that up until I can't work anymore because
was that for an agency? That wasn't private. That was through an agency?
yeah, so well, it's for a company and they get like contracts
Yeah.
through
Government. Yes.
government and that.
Perfect.
And it was so rewarding because I felt like I can help other people that might need that help.
And you're meeting them and you're building a friendship with them and a relationship with these people. I love that.
Yeah. And so I've pretty much rebuilt all that on my own. It's only the last couple of years, 2 years now, that I have found a partner that respects me. He knows my triggers, like with my trauma. So he's very understanding of that as well. And I don't have to sort of hear the fighting or raising voice. There's no fear at all there. And
So
I
he's a
got,
safe person.
yeah, I
Yes.
got that chance of having another child, but this time as well, having to be able to do that in a safe environment where I could enjoy the pregnancy and enjoy that birthing experience with a partner as well. So, and he has previous kids, I have kids, and we have blended in. And I love his kids like my own, and vice versa, and that. And it just feels amazing. I have, I guess, friends that have said they've never seen me smile the way that I've smiled in the last few years, and that. And that's because I can walk outside and really soak in the sun, or that it is an actual sunny day, and the terms of not feeling like you're in a dark place anymore.
Your heart is beautiful. I can feel how open and warm you are.
Oh,
I'm
thank
in
you.
shock. I'm in shock. I could just go A through to Z of how many times you were failed
Yeah.
over and over again. And I'm not talking about your abusers at this exact point. I'm talking about the systems that should have been in place to support you at any time there. That is a lifetime. You went through a lifetime until you got into that halfway home.
Yeah.
21 years. How old are you now?
I'm 35.
Wow. Wow. Your story is absolutely one of breaking the cycles, which is what I really really wanted to hear from you today. I mean, none of the stories of kids that have gone through what you've gone through shock me anymore, but the way that you have turned your life around and love your children and have given them the best life because of you. You did all of that. And the way that you were able to co parent, amazing. And I just love that you're in a good relationship right now. Like, I love this.
Yeah, no, it's great. And I love that I can hug the kids or my boys and that, and they know that it's okay. Like sometimes I'll be like, Mum, you're hugging us too much. And it's like, you know what? That's okay. But they know that they're allowed to show emotions. They're allowed to talk to me about absolutely anything. We have a very open relationship like that because I wanted to make sure that my kids never feel or have to go through anything of what I went through, that they will know that they're loved and that it's okay to say that you love them or to show affection or to, yeah, give hugs, to do all of that stuff. So now I take as many photos as I can of my kids and of our lives because I want those memories as well with them.
How does it make you feel when you put your life in a timeline beside their lives and they have lunch in the school lunch box and they get school photos and they get love at home and they're safe at home? How does it feel? Is it confronting that? I'm not talking about a jealousy. I'm talking about how does it make you feel to think, gee, I wasn't given any of this?
Well, I think it really warms my heart. Like I smile at those moments, but there's a little tiny piece of me that feels sad for a second. Like, wow, like this is how it's meant to be. This is how it was meant to be for me. And then I guess it just kind of makes me so happy that they get to have all of that stuff, and that no matter what I'm going through, or even if I sometimes have to save to make sure as well that they get all of that stuff and they don't miss out on those school events or anything like that. I think they see me as a strong mum and a single mum for a long time, that they see that I work very hard to make sure that they have all those things too. And I can see that in the way that they show their appreciation. And I say to them, you don't really have to, like, these are things that mum's meant to do. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, it warms my heart. And I think that's why I get up every morning. And I think that gives me that step to keep pushing in life because for them to have a better life.
And can you imagine, like, any parent who would allow what happened to you? Can you even imagine that? Or even a grandparent to allow what happened to you?
Yeah, I think that's the hardest thing as a parent to wrap your head around.
I
Now
can't
that
wrap my
I'm a
head around
parent,
it. I can't.
there are moments like, well, I'll be hugging up to my kids on the lounges or when they're first born and I'm holding them in my arms and I'm looking at their eyes and I'm like, how can a parent do those type of things or
Or
not think them that
grandparent,
way? Or,
ignore.
yes, yeah,
Or neighbours, or
yeah,
teachers at school, or lunch tuck shop ladies,
yeah,
or CPS, or the police.
yeah,
So many times.
yeah. And I guess for me, I teach my kids to have a voice or to be their own advocate.
That
And
was
I
my
think
next question. Are you going to be honest with them about your life?
they know a little bit. I know that I've told them when they're older that we'll sit down and I will be very open about
Oh, they're not
more
gonna
so the
like
harder
granddad.
things.
They're not gonna like
Yeah.
granddad. Is he in their life?
He is. My father has had a double lung transplant. So he's more so at the end of that
Yeah,
double
yeah,
lung
because
transplant.
if they get wind of his abuse on their mother, they're not going to want that relationship.
Yeah. And I
I'm
think
putting
that
words in their mouth. I'm putting words, perhaps they will, but I can't imagine it would go down very well.
no, I mean, my boys, they're very protective, I guess, of me as well. And I think it's always sort of been us, I guess, sometimes against the world sort of feeling. But I guess I've always protected them from because I always say that my kids have a good relationship with these people, things like that. So I put it aside. But as well as that, they're not silly. They see the way that my family talks to me, like my nan, things like that.
Is she still
Because
with us?
yeah, so I allow them to have a relationship with my kids. So they see, I guess,
I have to
how.
stop my head shaking. I have to physically stop it from shaking, Leah.
And you know what? Sometimes even my kids, like, they'll say to me, like, it's okay, mum. Like, if you don't want them in our lives, then that's okay. And I think that I try and be the bigger person in situations like this.
That's fine, but we don't have to give them grace
Yeah.
unless
Yeah.
they were to apologize and absolutely take and own what they did.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, my dad now, he's not allowed to drink because he's had a double lung transplant, which at first he was drinking and he went into sort of rejection a few times. Now he's on the last couple of years or so with that. He stopped drinking, but their relationship as well isn't more so repairable, which I've accepted that I'll never have that relationship. I'll never have that closure on what has happened. Like, he will still act like nothing ever actually did happen or
That's the
anything.
part I
So,
can't stand. That's the part I can't stand. The abuser who thinks it's okay.
yeah. So that part, I've learned to have peace within myself because for a long time I carried a lot of anger around, and I realized that that anger didn't actually affect them. The only person actually affected was me. And I didn't want to live life angry anymore. I wanted to see life in a positive way. I wanted to see the colors in life
Mm.
such compared to all the black and white. I say to people when they ask me why I'm so positive, it's like, I know that the world can be a dark place. I very much know that. But I refuse to see the world like that. I would prefer to look at all the colors in life and look at the positive things.
You are one in a million.
Thank you.
Do you go to bed thinking that? God, I'm good. Do you just do that?
I try to be or the word of affirmation. So
Beautiful.
I am enough, I am okay.
Yes. You are enough and you are okay. Now you're okay.
Yep.
And your children are okay. Leah, is there something or someone, if I just go through some stages in your life, are there anything you wish you did differently? Let's start primary school now. Is there anything you wish you did differently?
Probably speak up even then. So telling the teacher more so or I guess with primary school in that regards, even talking to friends and opening up to friends, having that one person maybe that I can talk to
Yeah.
instead.
And do you think you should have told a teacher that you were being sexually assaulted? So that's one. Now let's move to high school.
Yeah.
Is there anything you wish you'd done there?
I probably wish that I did reach out. There are numbers and things like that that there are out there. Like there's kids helpline, there's like one out
Lifeline.
hundred respect, there's lifeline, there's all of those things which at that stage as well that I very much wish that I had spoken out or used those resources in that. And I guess even now there's like Headspace, there's places like that that do offer those services for that age group as well.
And what about the police? What do you wish you'd done when you were with the police?
I wish that I had tried as well to tell them what I was going through. Because even though they might not ask the right questions, as a teenager, as a child, you still have your own voice, which you could still speak up with those type of things. If someone doesn't ask the right questions, that's where as well you use your voice as well to let them know, hey, this is what's actually happening. I need help.
Boom, I need help. So perhaps if you were back in that police station, you've just been arrested however many times, and you say, I can't go home, I am unsafe. Do you think they've got a responsibility to help you?
Yes.
Even I refuse to leave your police station. I am unsafe. I have nowhere to live. I do not
Yes.
have food.
Yeah. And the thing is, as well, now that obviously police do have body cams and things like that, that they actually have to wear. So a lot of the time now, voices are more so heard and they actually have to do something. So even then, it's about advocating for yourself. So speaking up and being like, I can't go home. I need help. If they still then continue to say nothing, that's when you also say, I know you have resources. You can't let me walk out of this police station knowing that I am unsafe as a child.
Yes. Okay, now anything to say to CPS, DCP, child safety?
It's hard because there's a lot that it's sad to know that there's so much that needs to still be done there. And that every child, no matter if you're a teenager or if you're a young child, your voice should be heard. And again, it's about knowing what your rights are. And even if you're a teenager, you can still go onto Google, you can still look up what your rights are so that if you feel like you aren't being heard by community services or anything, then you can also, as soon as you advocate that you know what your rights are, a lot of the time that's when something will be done. And unfortunately, in this world, sometimes we need to let services like that know that we know what our rights are.
So I 100% agree with Leah. A child in care, it doesn't matter how old you are, you Google your rights. You Google, if you're Australian, what are the rights of a child in care in Australia? And there are rights and there are laws that you are entitled to, and it would be breaking the law for child safety to not adhere to these. If you speak to your CSO, your child safety officer, or your caseworker, and they do not fix the laws that are being broken, you are unsafe. You are disconnected from your family. You are being abused in care. You are not happy in residential care for whatever reason. You bring it up with your CSO, caseworker. If they do not help, you Google the Minister for Child Safety in my state. What and who is the Minister for Child Safety in my state? You write them an email. You tell them exactly what is happening to you. And I guarantee you, your email is going to go where it needs to go, and they will all SHIT their pants and fix your situation. All right. There will be a whooping if you were to do that. So, first step is Google your rights. If they're not being met, go to your CSO, your safety officer. If they're not fixing what your rights are, you go to the Minister for Child Safety in your state or the police. Thank you. Just
Thank
I'm in awe of your strength. I'm in awe of the size of your heart. I just absolutely love seeing you today. And I bet your boys love you're a gamer. What's your game of choice?
More so like Call of
I knew you
Duty.
were going to say COD.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Keep being you. And if you need to cut that family out, you've got my tick of approval. How will you feel if they hear this podcast?
I'm okay with it. I think I've come far as well in my life now where I'm okay with that. And I know it's okay to speak out. And if I can touch somebody else's heart or to let someone else know that that dark cloud is not going to follow you forever and that there is that rainbow and that sunshine at the end of that, then I'm okay with that.
I'm super, super proud of your courage. You're amazing. Thank you, Leah.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Once Upon a Real Life with Belle. This episode was brought to you by Active Flex. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, and leave a comment. And if you loved this episode, go back and check out our previous conversations. There are so many stories you won't want to miss. Thanks again for listening.